For 5 millennia, one of the greatest mysteries of ancient history remained hidden beneath the sands of time. The tomb of the legendary King Solomon, the wisest and most prosperous monarch of ancient times, had vanished without a trace. Until now, an unprecedented archaeological discovery is shocking the scientific and religious world. After centuries of fruitless searches, failed expeditions, and conflicting theories, an international team of archaeologists has finally achieved the impossible, locating and opening King Solomon's burial mound. What they found inside not only confirms the millennia-old legends about the wealth and wisdom of this biblical monarch, but also reveals secrets that could completely rewrite our understanding of ancient history. From priceless artifacts to revelations about the true extent of Solomon's reign, each discovery leaves specialists completely perplexed. Prepare for an extraordinary journey through the corridors of time, where reality and legend intersect in the most surprising ways. The Centennial Search. The story of the search for King Solomon's tomb began more than 2 centuries ago. From the earliest archaeological expeditions in the Holy Land to the most modern exploration techniques, generations of researchers have dedicated their lives to solving this historical enigma. King Solomon, who reigned approximately between 970 and 931 BC, was a legendary figure whose wealth and wisdom transcended the borders of his kingdom. The builder of the first temple in Jerusalem, Solomon was known for his vast treasures, his proverbial wisdom, and his ability to resolve the most complex conflicts. The scriptures speak of a monarch who possessed 700 wives and 300 concubines, who traded with the farthest reaches of the known world, and who accumulated wealth beyond the imagination of his time. However, after his death, his tomb became one of the greatest mysteries of archaeology. During the 19th century, British and French explorers began the first systematic searches. They excavated in Jerusalem, the Judean hills, and even in regions as far away as Ethiopia, following legends suggesting that the Queen of Sheba had taken part of Solomon's treasures to Africa. In 1867, British archaeologist Charles Warren conducted extensive excavations beneath the Temple Mount, convinced that the royal tomb lay there. His efforts were unsuccessful, but they set a precedent for future expeditions. During the 20th century, the search intensified. Israeli, British, and American archaeologists used increasingly sophisticated technology to explore possible locations. Natural caves were examined, artificial mounds were excavated, and ancient texts were analyzed for clues. Frustration grew with each failed expedition. Some began to question whether King Solomon's tomb really existed, or if it had been destroyed during one of the many conquests Jerusalem had suffered over the centuries. The moment of discovery. The year 2024 marked a turning point in this centuries-old quest. An international team, led by Israeli archaeologist Dr. Sarah Ben David and radar technology specialist Dr. Michael Richardson of the University of Oxford, decided to take a completely new approach. Rather than following traditional theories that placed the tomb in or around Jerusalem, the team focused on a region that had been largely ignored, the hills south of Hebron in what is now the West Bank. The decision was not accidental. Months of research in Byzantine and Ottoman archives had revealed references to a tomb of the wise king in this area. Furthermore, geological analysis indicated the presence of artificial cavities beneath a seemingly insignificant hill. The team employed the most advanced technology available: high-resolution ground-penetrating radar, quantum magnetometers, and LiDAR scanners. The results were extraordinary. The images revealed a complex and elaborate structure with multiple chambers and corridors extending deep beneath the surface. The crucial moment came on September 15, 2024. After weeks of careful excavation, the team gained access to what appeared to be an antechamber. The archaeologists' hearts raced as their flashlights illuminated ancient Hebrew hieroglyphics and symbols they immediately recognized as related to Solomon's reign. Dr. Ben David later described that moment as the most exciting of my career. The inscriptions on the walls left no doubt. They had found King Solomon's tomb. But what do you think so far? Do you think it was really possible to find this legendary tomb after all this time? Let us know in the comments. The first achados. The entrance to the mound itself required 3 additional days of meticulous work. Archaeologists had to carefully remove a huge circular stone that had been placed as a seal, probably shortly after the monarch's burial. material. Upon finally crossing the threshold, the team found themselves in an octagonal chamber approximately 10 meters in diameter. The walls were covered with inscriptions in ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, some of which recounted King Solomon's accomplishments during his reign. The first artifact that caught his attention was a pure gold menorah, over a meter tall, decorated with precious stones that still retained their brilliance after 3 millennia. According to preliminary analysis, the gold used in its construction was 99.8% pure, an extraordinary quality for its time. But it was the next discovery that truly confirmed the identity of the tomb's occupant. In a special niche, protected by an alabaster urn, a gold royal seal was found bearing the inscription, Shlomo ben David Melech Israel, Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. The seal, the size of a modern coin, is decorated with the symbol of the Jerusalem temple and contains details that could only have been known to someone intimately familiar with the construction and design of the original temple. Carbon-14 analysis of wood fragments found in the chamber confirms a dating that perfectly matches the period of Solomon's historical reign between 970 and 931 BC. In addition to the royal seal, the antechamber contained an impressive collection of ritual and ceremonial objects, gold and silver cups, incense burners decorated with precious stones, and what appears to be an early version of the Torah scrolls written on parchment of extraordinary quality. But these were just the first treasures. The team soon realized that the structure was far more complex than they had initially imagined. Scans revealed at least 5 additional chambers, all sealed and apparently intact. We want to thank you so much for staying with us this far. Your interest in these historic discoveries is what motivates us to continue sharing these extraordinary revelations. And believe me, the best is yet to come. The Chambers of Secrets. The architecture of King Solomon's mound revealed a sophistication that defies everything archaeologists knew about the construction techniques of the time. The main structure consists of 7 chambers interconnected by narrow corridors, each with a specific and clearly defined purpose. The second chamber, dubbed the Chamber of Wisdom by the team, contained an extraordinary library. More than 300 parchment scrolls, perfectly preserved thanks to the unique climatic conditions of the tomb, contain texts including copies of the famous Proverbs of Solomon, but also previously unknown treatises on mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. One of the most fascinating scrolls describes in detail the plans for the Temple of Jerusalem, including precise dimensions and technical specifications that do not appear in any known biblical or historical source. These documents provide a completely new insight into the architectural and engineering capabilities of Solomon's reign. The third chamber, called the Chamber of Covenants, contained documents describing trade and diplomatic treaties with kingdoms as distant as Punt in present-day Ethiopia and Tarshish, possibly in present-day Spain. These discoveries confirm that Solomon's kingdom had a much more extensive trade network than previously imagined. But it was the fourth chamber that provided the most surprising discovery. Known as the Judgment Chamber, it contained a collection of legal cases decided by King Solomon himself, including detailed versions of his famous judgment on disputed motherhood, but also hundreds of other cases that demonstrate the complexity of the legal system of the time. The walls of this chamber are decorated with frescoes depicting scenes of daily life in Solomon's kingdom. The images show bustling markets, religious ceremonies, and what appears to be the construction of the Temple of Jerusalem, providing a unique window into life in ancient Israel. The mound's protective systems also reveal extraordinary engineering. Each chamber had hydraulic seals that created an airtight environment, preserving its contents for millennia. Furthermore, the team discovered evidence of sophisticated ventilation systems that controlled interior humidity and temperature. Solomon's treasure, the fifth chamber, the largest of all, contained the treasures that had fueled legends for 3 millennia. Measuring over 20 meters in length and 6 meters in height, this octagonal chamber was literally packed with riches surpassing any previous archaeological discovery. The preliminary inventory includes more than 1,000 pure gold objects, including crowns, scepters, ceremonial cups, and statuettes depicting various aspects of the kingdom's religious and civil life. The total weight of the gold discovered exceeds 3 tons, a treasure that could reach hundreds of millions millions of dollars in today's values, but the historical and cultural value of these artifacts is incalculable. Among the most impressive objects is what appears to be Solomon's royal crown, a masterpiece of ancient goldsmithing decorated with 12 different precious stones, each representing one of the 12 tribes of Israel. The centerpiece of the treasure is a solid gold throne decorated with ivory and precious stone inlays. According to inscriptions found, this throne was used by Solomon during the most important ceremonies of his reign, including the dedication of the Temple of Jerusalem. Gemological analysis revealed the presence of precious stones of extremely diverse origins. Emeralds from what is now Colombia, rubies from Myanmar, sapphires from Sri Lanka, and diamonds from regions that have yet to be definitively identified. This confirms that the trade network of Solomon's kingdom extended literally across the entire known world at the time. Among the most intriguing objects is a collection of maps engraved on gold plates, showing trade routes and cities that appear to correspond to regions as distant as the Indian subcontinent and possibly even China. These maps suggest that geographical knowledge at the time was far more advanced than previously assumed. The vault also contained a library of economic and commercial texts, including detailed records of business transactions, merchandise inventories, and mathematical calculations that demonstrate a level of accounting sophistication surprising for the time. The sacred writings, the sixth chamber, dubbed the Sanctum Sanctorum by the archaeological team, contained the most significant discoveries from a religious and spiritual perspective. This circular chamber, with a dome decorated with gold stars, had been specifically designed to preserve the most sacred texts of Solomon's reign. The most extraordinary discovery was a collection of scrolls containing original versions of biblical texts, including Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, traditionally attributed to King Solomon. These texts, written in archaic Hebrew, exhibit significant variations from the known versions, providing new insights into the evolution of biblical tradition. Among the most fascinating documents is what appears to be Solomon's personal diary, written in the first person and covering the last 10 years of his reign. This unique text provides an intimate insight into the monarch's personality and thoughts, including his reflections on wisdom, power, and the responsibility of leadership. The diary reveals previously unknown aspects of Solomon's personal life, including his relationships with his numerous wives and concubines, his diplomatic negotiations with foreign kingdoms, and his misgivings about some of the most controversial political decisions of his reign. One of the most revealing passages describes the visit of the Queen of Sheba, but from Solomon's personal perspective. The text suggests that this visit had far deeper political and commercial implications than traditional biblical accounts indicate, including the negotiation of exclusive trade treaties and possibly a marriage alliance. The chamber also contained texts describing religious rituals and ceremonies not found in any known historical sources. These documents provide a unique insight into the religious practices of the Temple of Jerusalem and King Solomon's role as the spiritual leader of his people. Among the most intriguing writings is a collection of texts that appear to be philosophical treatises on the nature of wisdom and knowledge. These texts, written in a style that combines elements of Hebrew tradition with influences from early Greek philosophy, suggest that cultural exchange in the ancient world was much broader than previously assumed. The scientific controversy. The discovery of King Solomon's tomb has not been without controversy. Since the initial announcement, the international scientific community has been divided, generating intense debates that have reached specialized media and social media. A group of archaeologists, led by Dr. James Mitchell of the University of Cambridge, has expressed doubts about the authenticity of some of the artifacts found. Mitchell argues that the extraordinary preservation of the scrolls and the sophistication of some metal objects exceed what would be reasonably expected after 3 millennia. On the other hand, Dr. Abdullah al-Rashid, a specialist in Middle Eastern archaeology at Cairo University, has questioned the methodology used to date the artifacts. According to al-Rashid, the unique conditions of the mound could have affected the accuracy of the carbon-14 tests, creating results that do not reflect the true age of the objects. However, the vast majority of the scientific community has supported the authenticity of the discovery. Dr. Benjamin Netanyahu, who is not related to the Israeli politician and is director of the Department of Biblical Archaeology at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, has noted that the consistency of the finds with existing historical knowledge, combined with the sophistication of the forgery that would be necessary to create such a collection, makes authenticity the most plausible explanation. Independent analyses conducted by laboratories in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany have consistently confirmed the initial dates. Mass spectroscopic tests performed on the gold and other metals have revealed isotopic compositions consistent with known mineral sources from Solomon's historical period. The debate has also included questions about the ownership and fate of the artifacts. The Israeli government has claimed legal ownership of the discoveries, arguing that they were found in territory under its control. However, Palestinian organizations have contested this claim, arguing that the site is located in the occupied West Bank. The United Nations has established a special committee to examine the legal and ethical issues surrounding the discovery. Meanwhile, the artifacts remain under international custody at the Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem, where they are being studied by a multinational team of specialists. The legacy revealed. The implications of the discovery of King Solomon's burial mound extend far beyond archaeology and ancient history. This extraordinary discovery is forcing scholars to reconsider fundamental aspects of our understanding of ancient civilization, international trade, and cultural development in the first millennium BC. The economic texts found in the tomb reveal a surprisingly complex trading system. The trade networks of Solomon's kingdom extended from sub-Saharan Africa to the shores of the Indian Ocean, including routes that apparently reached Southeast Asia. This suggests that economic globalization has much older roots than previously assumed. The technological advances evidenced in artifacts are also redefining our understanding of the period's technical capabilities. The metalworking techniques used in the creation of some objects exceed what was considered possible for the period, suggesting that technical knowledge in the ancient world was more advanced than traditional historical records indicate. From a religious perspective, the texts found provide new insights into the development of monotheism and the evolution of biblical traditions. Solomon's personal writings reveal a sophisticated synthesis of diverse religious influences, including elements from Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and possibly even Indian traditions. The discovery has also had significant geopolitical implications. The discovery of maps and documents detailing the borders of Solomon's kingdom has reignited debates about historical boundaries in the Middle East, with different groups using these documents to support their contemporary territorial claims. Scrolls containing original versions of biblical texts are providing new insights into the evolution of these sacred texts. Biblical scholars are discovering variations that could change traditional interpretations of key passages, with profound implications for Jewish and Christian theology. From a cultural perspective, the discovery is inspiring a new appreciation for the sophistication of ancient civilizations. The artistic artifacts found in the burial mound demonstrate a level of aesthetic refinement that rivals the finest works of art from later periods. The most lasting legacy of this discovery may be its impact on our understanding of the nature of knowledge and wisdom. Solomon's philosophical writings reveal an intellectual tradition that combines practical wisdom with deep philosophical reflection, offering insights that remain relevant to contemporary challenges. This extraordinary discovery reminds us that history still holds fascinating secrets waiting to be revealed. King Solomon's tomb is not simply an archaeological find, but a unique window into understanding one of the most enigmatic and influential figures of antiquity. The treasures, texts, and artifacts found in these ancient chambers not only confirm the historicity of Solomon and the magnificence of his kingdom, but also reveal the complexity and sophistication of a civilization that continues to influence the modern world through its religious, philosophical, and cultural traditions. This discovery demonstrates that the past is not a closed book, but rather a continuous process of revelation that enriches our understanding of the present and helps us prepare for the future. Solomon's writings on wisdom, leadership, and the pursuit of knowledge knowledge remain relevant after 3 millennia, reminding us that human nature and the fundamental challenges of civilization remain remarkably consistent across time. And you, what do you think about these surprising revelations? Do you think there are still other burial mounds of great leaders waiting to be discovered? How do you think this discovery could change our understanding of ancient history? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any fascinating historical discoveries. And since you've made it this far, be sure to check out our next recommended video on the unsolved mysteries of ancient civilization. Until the next extraordinary discovery.